Well, we begin with some breaking news at this hour. Washington State Patrol is asking for your help to find this missing Spokane teen. Kaylee Kelly has been missing since July 18th. She's 16 years old with blonde hair and blue eyes. Anyone who has seen her is asked to please call the Spokane County Sheriff's Office. That number is right there at the bottom of your screen. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for sharing your night with us. I'm Whitney Ward. Mark is off tonight. Our other top story at this hour, rent prices continue to spike here in the inland Northwest. In fact, apartmentlist.com says we had the highest rent increases of anywhere else in the country in June. So tonight, the local office of Washington's Tenants Union held an online meeting to help renters avoid eviction. Our Morgan Trow is live in the newsroom tonight to break it all down for us. Morgan?
Whitney, I spoke with tenants, landlords, union leaders. Everyone I heard from says they are exhausted. The pandemic hit Spokane hard. The eviction moratorium expiring just 3 weeks ago opens up the door to major changes in the housing market.
50, 60, even more than 100% increases in rent in the Spokane area.
It's around $12.05, plus we have 3 pets, so we have to pay for the pets. And it's going up to $17.05, but with the pets, it'll go up to $2,000 a month.
During the pandemic, Governor Jay Inslee's eviction moratorium put a freeze on rent increases in Washington. But since it expired at the end of June, thousands of Spokane residents are seeing major rent hikes.
So my rent's going from $11.95 to $17.27 on November 1st.
I'm paying over half of my paycheck is for rent.
And a $300 increase.
The Spokane office of the Tenants Union of Washington State held an urgent meeting tonight to explain new protections that could help renters avoid eviction, including the right to counsel and the need for a just cause eviction. Also, rental history during the pandemic can't be considered by future potential landlords.
I don't want them to lose their home, but at the same time, I'm having to provide this property. I'm having to pay all the expenses at a loss without any recourse.
Will Clark is an independent landlord with 24 properties. He says he tries to be understanding, but during the pandemic, 20% of his tenants couldn't pay rent, forcing him to sell 2 properties and raise rent for everyone else.
There's a burden all around, but I feel as a landlord, it's been especially difficult because there's not a lot of areas for recourse.
Legally, cities can't put a cap on rent increases. Only the state can do that. But the tenants union says the city can make landlords give relocating money to tenants who are forced out by high prices and extend the rent increase notice from 60 to 90 days, giving tenants more time to find new housing.
Everyone in Washington should have a safe, affordable place to live.
While Inslee's new plan does give landlords the right to raise rents moving forward, they still can't charge for late payments. And renters can't be evicted over past due rent until rental assistance programs are fully in place. They also can't be evicted if they've taken action to try to pay their overdue rent. Reporting in the newsroom, Morgan Trow, KREM 2 News.
All right, now we want to quickly go through some of the latest wildfire updates for you here in less than 90 seconds, starting with a fire burning on the Spokane Reservation tonight near Welpinit. That one is prompting level 3 evacuations. It's being called the Sherwood Fire and so far has burned at least 100 acres since it broke out late this afternoon. There is a shelter that has been set up at Welpinit High School. Level 3 and Level 2 evacuations are in place for the Goddard Road fire burning in Stevens County. That one has burned about 800 acres so far since it jumped containment lines yesterday. Crews have that one about 25% contained, and also a Red Cross shelter has been set up at Kettle Falls Middle School. There are also Level 3 evacuations still in place in the Cedar and Cub Creek fires, which are burning in Okanogan County. The Cub Creek fire is the largest of the two. It's now burned about 35,000 acres. Crews say they only have it 5% contained. The Cedar Creek fire is also over 15,000 acres with about 11% containment. Then there is the Chewea Creek fire in Nespelem that is holding steady at about 36,000 acres. Crews say they have that one now 40% contained, and all evacuations have been downgraded now to level 1. Governor Jay Inslee paid a visit to Nespelem to hear how much that fire has truly impacted that community. Our Amanda Rowley was also there.
Governor Jay Inslee spent most of the afternoon at the government center here in Nespelem. But standing here next to the hills that burned on the first day of the Chewea Creek fire, Governor Inslee heard the community's stories of loss, heartache, and courage.
How it's impacted us has been in a number of ways.
Darlene Wilder never thought she would have to leave her home abruptly again so soon.
This is our second time. Since 2015, we've had to evacuate. I was just beginning to unpack things from then, and I felt just like an immediate depression, I guess.
Her story of how her family escaped the fire charging toward their home in Nespelem inspired Governor Inslee. It moved him to honor her as the Washingtonian of the day.
That's the most inspirational person that I meet anywhere in the state that day.
The stories that followed Darlene's shared the same tune of loss and resilience.
I appreciate you coming and listening to us, but we really need help here. We've lost a lot. We've lost a lot of land. We've lost a lot of timber.
Nespelem's mayor, Darcy Epperson, told the governor the local water pump had been out of service for years. But she said, thankfully, city council and its 2 staff members worked diligently to get it working again before the Chewea Creek fire started.
Because if this would have happened prior to having that fixed, it would have been much more devastating for the people of Nespelem.
Madam Mayor, thank you for your leadership. Congratulations. This is a town that's been spared from a devastating fire. I know everybody pitched in together.
Chairman Andrew Joseph of the Colville tribe requested the governor's support early on in the fire. Inslee was happy he could fulfill that request within 24 hours and today see how much it helped.
He told me they needed aerial assets. We got aerial assets here. He tells me it was able to save several houses. That's good news.
Now, before he concluded his visit here, the chairman thanked Governor Inslee for coming to visit Nespelem and see the impacts this fire's really made on the community and presented him with a blanket. Reporting in Nespelem tonight, Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
And here at KREM, we are committed to keeping you informed about all things wildfire season. For the latest, just text the word FIRE to 509-448-2000 and we'll send that link right to your phone. And switching gears now to weather, that red flag warning that we have been talking about now for several days just expired here for our area. Thomas Patrick is joining us now from the Outdoor Weather Center. And Thomas, obviously great news for firefighters and the rest of us.
Yeah, exactly. And the red flag warning was originally prompted because of the stronger winds that we had earlier today. Those have been calming down into the evening hours. And remember, the red flag warning about the winds, not the temperatures. In fact, temperature-wise was one of the coolest days in more than a month here. You got to go back to June 16th to find temperatures this cool. 81, the latest update on our high temperature today in the Spokane area. We also got a bit of morning rain as well. That was the first rain in 36 days. Dating back to June 15th. We actually had morning thunderstorms on that day as well, that tying in hand to hand. But the winds will still be watched heading into tomorrow because that's going to blow this wildfire smoke in northern Washington a bit closer towards the Spokane area. So coming up, we're going to have an air quality forecast and give you details on how long that's going to last in our region.
And if we want to have a good coach for the Apple Cup, we want to keep him healthy. So there's no reason in the world not to get this vaccine.
Governor Jay Inslee responding today to a sudden and somewhat surprising announcement from WSU's head football coach today. On Twitter, Nick Rolovich said he is not vaccinated against COVID-19 and will not be getting vaccinated. So we'll have more from the governor and his response here in just a moment. But first, Karthik Venkatraman is here joining us now with more on how the university is responding at this point.
Yeah, we'll first start with this. Pac-12 Media Day is just going to be next week, starts on Tuesday. And Nick Rolovich is not going to be able to go because you have to be fully vaccinated to attend in person. So he released this statement first saying that the Pac-12 is requiring all people that go in person to be fully vaccinated. He then continues on with that he's going to have to do this virtually and be remote for this, and looking forward to talking about the team. Rolovich goes on to say that he was not received the COVID-19 vaccine and he's not planning on getting it anytime soon. Then he goes on to say after that, kind of talks about how he respects everyone's decision on whether they want to get it or whether they don't want to get it, but he's going to keep his thing private, move on. and no further comments from him. WSU Athletic Director Pat Chun talked about how he spoke with Rolovich moving forward about this whole entire thing, how they've had multiple discussions on this topic, but while WSU has a vaccination mandate, they still say that there's different things that these people who don't get vaccinated can do. There's different protocols for them that they can follow, and their big thing is just keeping the health and safety in mind of everybody that the athletic department and that the university is involved with. So there's a lot of moving parts that are going on with this whole entire thing right now.
Everyone's comments have been extremely respectful across the board as we have been kind of monitoring this throughout the day. The Pac-12, we know, doesn't mandate that every student or coach take the vaccine, but of course they're strongly encouraging it.
Correct, they are, and WSU has their own policies as well, as Pat Chun just kind of alluded to right there. They have their policies where students and faculty need to have that vaccination record by the 2021-2022 academic year. However, there are some exemptions to this, whether if it's a medical reason, whether it's a religious reason or a personal reason, you can become exempt. So maybe Rolovich falls under one of those things. But as he also said, if you are somebody that's going to be exempt, you're going to have to go through these COVID protocols and, making sure that everyone's, keeping safe in this whole entire thing. WSU President Kirk Schultz also released a statement tonight talking about all those protocols and, how everyone needs to be vaccinated, but also respecting the decision of not being vaccinated as well. So if that's the case, you got to wear a mask and you got to physically distance. So we'll probably see Rolovich wearing a mask on the sidelines, and also on top of that, we might see him having to get COVID tests, every week, kind of like they did this past season during the whole entire pandemic season. We know that Max Borghi, star running back for the team, and linebacker Jahad Woods are both going to be going in person to Pac-12 Media Day, which means they both are fully vaccinated. So if we have anything, past that, we'll keep updating you. But at least for those two players, they're going.
All right. Thank you very much, Karthik. Also, our KREM 2 reporter Amanda Rowley was with Governor Inslee in Nespelem today when that news about Coach Rolo's decision first broke. She was the first one to get his reaction.
Anybody in a leadership position in the state of Washington, I believe, has an obligation to lead and use their leadership position to save lives. Governors, senators, football coaches, help lead the effort to defeat COVID.
So almost immediately, there was no shortage of opinions on both sides of this issue. The coach's tweet already has more than 1,000 likes and hundreds of comments, including one from Spokane County Treasurer Michael Baumgartner saying, "I have been vaccinated and encourage everyone able to do so." However, he said no one should be forced to take the vaccine. Billy Ray said that everyone is entitled to their privacy and their own personal opinion. Let's just play football. Rick, though, said Rolovich is an ambassador of the school and the brand and believes getting vaccinated should come with the job. So you can see more of the community's response to Coach Rolo's decision. You can just go find that at krem.com.
A lot of different opinions on this. I know it's been a hot topic all day. It's blowing up on social media. Everyone's got an opinion on this. If we have any more news to report, we'll definitely bring that to you as well.
All right, Karthik, thanks for the update tonight.